Fantastic thing.
For having me on today. Hey, Jeffrey,
Oh,
how are you?
Hey, doing pretty good. Everything's hitting my targets. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
100%. That's what I hear. That's good. Oh, we got Roger Scotch joining in with us too. And so while he's getting situated, hey, Roger, how are you doing?
I'm situated. How are you?
There you go. Hey, it's been great. I've been hearing a lot of really good things about your room that you've had open all summer long. That's been great for everybody.
Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun. It's been a really good time, and we've been very fortunate. We've been having a lot of folks, and for the summer, VIP room is free Monday through Friday. You guys come in, enjoy yourselves. We're giving hot trades, free goodies, people making good money. Everybody's happy, which is what we need. So,
Awesome.
hey
Awesome.
Jack, hey Sean, hey Jeffrey, how are you guys? I hope you're all
Hey.
doing well.
Good.
Doing
How are you?
pretty
Doing well, thank you.
Good, good, good. All right. Well, let's get this show on the road. Welcome everybody. We're glad that you're here with us on Ask the Pros for another great session. Here we are in the middle of August. Cannot believe it, but we are here. And everybody by now knows that there's risk in the market if you've been in the market for the last couple of weeks. And that's why we come here week after week. We try to show you ways that we're looking at the market, hope to help you get an edge so that you can preserve your capital, because your capital is at risk and you can lose it. You can lose a lot of it. And we don't want you to do that. So we're going to show you some things that we do to protect that and to also make money. That's why we're here. So with that, let's get going. I've got some questions for these guys. We have all talked about the pullback that was pending, and now it is here. And so maybe it was surprising to some of you. Maybe it doesn't feel so good. Maybe you all have a really great plan, but let's find out. Let's fine tune that. And so what I want to ask these guys, and I'm going to go ahead and get started with you first, Roger. If a trader is feeling kind of lost or worried or even mad, angry right now about what's going on in the market or about their own personal trades, what insights do you have for them?
I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you what it is, and this is actually a great question you're asking me, because a lot of folks, a lady sent me an email the other day. She said, I what was the I want to exactly phrase her. She said, I took a loss. I took a loss on a trade. I lost money on this trade. It's my fault. What can I do differently? And I said to her, and I responded to her. She actually said it in the VIP room. It wasn't an email. And I said, why do you think you did anything wrong? Why do you think you did anything wrong because you have a loss? Why are you equating a loss with you doing something wrong? A matter of fact, you might have done something right by taking a loss. So it's a very natural inclination for people to equate and to blame losers on themselves. It's my fault. I'm stupid. I'm doing something wrong. I'm not competent. I don't know the market well enough. No. That's not how it works. Losers in trading are part of it. It's a natural part of it. It's like eating without chewing. You can't do it. It doesn't work. So I want you folks to understand, and I wish somebody explained this to me, because I'm really tough on myself. And I remember when I started trading, I thought I was just an idiot. I thought here I was, number one in my law school, and I'm losing money, and I'm like, how could this be? I've never lost anything in my life. I've always won everything. I've always been successful. How could I suck at this so bad? And those are all very natural thoughts, but those are rational thoughts, but they're not real thoughts. And I want you guys to understand, you losing money, you being on the wrong side of the market, you taking a losing trade, you having a couple of losers in a row has nothing to do with your ability as a trader, your competence as a trader. It has nothing with it. I saw a trader a couple of days ago lose $250,000 on one trade. All right. This guy is a rock star. He's probably the best trader I know in the world. And I know a lot of guys in the world. This guy can make $50,000 in the market before an afternoon. Okay. He's really good. He lost $250,000 on a trade. It happens. The point is, you have to understand, it's not you. You're not doing anything wrong. It's part of the process. Pick yourself up and understand that losing is part of trading. Without losing, you have no trading. So it's like throwing basketballs and always dunking and always. It would be no fun if everybody always made dunked the free throw. It wouldn't be worth anything to go to. Nobody would be watching basketball games. So you have to understand that. That's what I would tell a beginner. That's what I would say to somebody right now with the market turning down. Stop being so hard on yourself. Do something about it. Risk control, money management, bet sizing. I've had traders who took 8, 9 losers in a row. It's part of how it works. It's part of the game. So embrace it, accept it. And if you can't, then paper trade till you gain enough confidence in your trading. Don't have unrealistic expectations. The reason people quit trading is because they have unrealistic expectations. And that's like the worst thing you can do to yourself, because you're going to put undue pressure on yourself and cause yourself to make decisions that you wouldn't have otherwise made. And unfortunately, we all go through this process in one way or another. I'm sure Jack went through. As a matter of fact, I remember Jack telling me this story about how you started trading. I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember how you were telling me how you were a floor trader and you thought you were going to make a big move and you were going to go tell folks at home. I remember this. It was like last summer. You were telling me this story, and it didn't work out, and that's where you picked yourself up. Everybody has a moment like that. I'm sure Jeffrey had a moment like that. Everybody has a moment like that. With me, it happened in June after I started law school. I finished law school that semester. I drove my account from like $6,000 to like 35, 40,000. And in like 2 weeks, it was just all coming apart. That's when I had my moment. That's when I said, whatever you're doing, you're not smart. It was all luck. You got to stop this. You got to become mechanical. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. For some people, it takes 20 years. For some people, it takes 5 months. But I'm telling you right now, if you're feeling this way, if what I'm saying is resonating with you, this is very normal. You wouldn't be a normal human being if it didn't. So that's my advice for anyone starting out, especially in a challenging market like this.
Excellent. Wow. There's a lot of things we could piggyback off of from what you said, Roger. A lot of things: bet size, paper trading, the whole perspective of an approach to trading. Fantastic. So, Jack, do you have a story for us? What do you have to share on this whole, idea of feelings in the market right now?
I think it's important to get over the emotional part. I think when I was telling Roger about that, at the time I was at Dean Witter, and I went halves with another idiot on an option trade, and I broke every rule. I invested money that I could not afford to lose, but I was very greedy and very young and wet behind the ears, and I lost it all. And my plan was to go back to Gary, Indiana, as a big shot, 23 years old, all the loaded pockets, big time stockbroker, just got back trade from Wall Street. Instead, I took the bus, man. I didn't even have money for a flight. I'd taken the bus. My dad's picking me up at the bus stop in Gary. I got my tail between my legs. And I beat myself up about that real bad, worse than I should have. And that also detracts from getting back on track, and trying to get your game going again. So like Roger said, losing is as much a part of trading as is winning. The difference is in how you handle it. And it's natural to handle it and kind of take it out on yourself when you lose. But, it also goes back to only trading money you can't afford to lose, which I didn't do, understanding what the risks were. And I'm expecting to quadruple my money, not lose 100% of it, so I didn't understand what I was getting into, and I was emotional, and then I beat myself up for it. Now, it's like, it's just another hit, just like you're in a boxing ring, you're going to get hit in the face. You're still going to probably win. That was my attitude, but you're going to get a bloody nose, and that comes with the territory. So that's just how I look at it. I was writing down all the things I think you need to be a successful trader. And one of them at the top of the list is you need to have a thick skin. Really, you do. You need to be relentless. You need to be able to brush off that loss. Just like Roger said, that was so true, that people think when they have a loss that they have done something wrong. And that's not how it works. What do people say to me? I lost this much on this trade. What am I missing? You're not missing anything. That's part of it. You're going to get you step into this ring. It's like a boxing ring. When you step into this market, you can't be shocked when you get one right in the chops, so and don't be shocked when you knock the other guy out. You win, you're going to have some knockout trades as well, but it's just kind of rolling with the punches and not taking it personally. If you have a loss, you are not a loser. You just had a loss, and be relentless. Just continue to, don't let anything stop you. Don't, of all things, a loss. Don't let a loss stop you. And Roger was right again. People just quit so soon. They quit. They try a new strategy. The first trade doesn't work, and they quit. Can't do that either. Everybody on here has the talent and an ability to do great things in the market, but you got to have your mind right. You got to have a good system, and you got to have a mentor like the three of you here on here with us.
Like you. Yeah. Great, great stuff. That's a great story. Sometimes I think these lessons that we learn here in these pullbacks and in the difficult times and, in the failures or the expenses, as one of my mentors had always called the losses, it's an expensive trading, but this is when you learn the most. And if you really pay attention, what these guys have already said, I mean, we could just close up shop today and come back tomorrow and be a better trader because what Jack and Roger have already shared. But Jeffrey, I know you have some stories too, and it doesn't always go perfect, right?
Yeah, I've been through the gamut. The psychological aspect of this game is real, and it comes back around if you don't keep it in check. I mean, it comes back around every time. Like, I've got this thing up right here behind me. If we start out, this is the psychological cycle of the market. You can Google this. Just type in psychology of market cycle, and you'll pull up 900 versions of this thing. I mean, it starts out. We've had all of these in the last year. We're disbelief. I mean, people are like, oh, this rally's going to fail just like all the others. Everybody calling for the bottom. I mean, like mainstream media was all over it. Then we get a little hope and we get optimism. And then, the last few weeks back coming into August, everybody was like, I'm a genius. All you have to do is go long. This thing is going like, this is never going to end. And then, people were getting complacent. And then now we're starting, I'm starting to see it, anxiety, denial, panic. I mean, that's all happening right now. Eventually we're going to have this capitulation, which is kind of what I'm waiting on to happen in this correction. We could get a fake out. I mean, it could happen. We could go lower. If you're not ready for lower levels, you need to check where you're at. It's not being wrong that costs you money. It's staying wrong. Yeah. Like, don't, know when you're wrong and then adjust. Like, if you just stay wrong, you're going to lose all your money. All right. Then you get angry at the market. Like, oh, who's been shorting? I mean, come on. We've all felt that. If you're completely honest about trading, we've all felt like, who's shorting my position? I mean, and then you get the depression. You're like, oh, I'm never going to get this right again. Or, I mean, like, believe me, we've all done this cycle right here. And then, the rally starts taking hold and you're like in disbelief and you think, I mean, it just starts all over again.
You start feeling like somebody's out to get you.
Exactly. I mean, oh, every trade I place, the market is after me. They know, like, there's a market maker watching my every trade. It's part of the psychology of the market.
I love that very end part, depression. My retirement money is lost. How can we pay for all this new stuff? I'm an idiot. That's where you're beating yourself up. And then, you let time do the heavy lifting, and your retirement account is, people lost a lot in 2022 and not so much now in 2023. So it's like a whole waste of emotion too, right?
Yeah.
Of energy.
Exactly. Energy put into that is unbelievable.
Absolutely. Hey, Jack, you kind of said some things. You had this list of, to be a successful trader. So if a trader's plan isn't really working out for them, what they're using right now, what kind of tips would you have for them? What would you say to them?
I'd say if it's not working out right now, is it because of the system, or is it you're using, or is it because of the market, or do you have a system that's right, but it's wrong now? And if that's the case, you just got to slog through it. Like Roger and I were talking on a new system. We started the very first trade or two trades were losers. And if somebody quit right there, they would never be able to cross that bridge to success. So I really believe in persistence and determination. That's the only thing that got it for me, was I was too stupid to quit at this. I wanted it so bad. You got to want it bad. You got to do whatever it takes to be successful. And if it's not going your way right now, just revisit that. Is it the system? Is it, your strategy isn't good, or is it good and you just got to take a few punches to get through the round?
Yeah, sometimes.
Go ahead, Roger.
I was just going to say that I agree with Jack that it's a lot of times it's not the system. It's it's just part of the game. I had an email, another email the other day. Roger, I had a loss on Codebreaker. I want to exchange it for your new system. I said, "Oh, I don't even know how to respond to that. I had a loss in Codebreaker. I want to change. I mean, it doesn't just, that's not how trading works. I mean, you're going to have losers. So you got to have a realistic expectation. See, if you start watching too many of these shows or these gurus, YouTube videos, I made $100 million in 5 days, my last trade. You start thinking that this is normality, or you start looking at traders who've been doing it for 30 years, who are really talented, and you think you can just duplicate them in a day. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. And I think if people understood that, and if they could tone down their expectations of reality, I think it would make life a lot easier for people. But people try to go from 1 to 10 in 3 months. It makes life very difficult. Sorry about that, Jeffrey. Go ahead.
No,
Yeah.
I was going to say my big thing is personal accountability. If you're blaming a system, if you're blaming, other people, if you're blaming the market, you're blaming all this stuff on your performance, maybe the problem is somewhere else. It's personal accountability. What did I do? It's not that you did something wrong. Maybe the system has a certain expectancy. I mean, we publish win rates on all sorts of things. What's the maximum number of losses it's ever gone? Is this going to be the time we get more losses than that? I mean, the last time I was on here, I was showing how long between pullbacks in the S&P 500. I mean, we finally got the pullback. I mean, there's a certain expectancy. We can always set a new record in any system, a new string of losses, a new, new set of gains, number of wins in a row. I mean, all these things, that's the statistics. I mean, it can always expand. You should just keep your expectations in check.
Ken says virtually all my losses were due to greed. I see this in the chat. And that's true. And some of my losses were due to being stubborn, and then just not knowing when to just get out. I mean, when I was younger, I took the biggest loss I ever took. I told you, when I shorted a stock and other word on the street got out, I was short, and they ran it up in my face. And, I was really hard on myself. I was stubborn about not reeling that short in, and I took a bigger loss than I had. And one of the things is it's like everything else in life. You look back, and those tough times were the times that, hardens your steel, right? It's, you got to go through it. I've never met anybody that's just had it easy every year, right? You're going to have some tough times, but you got to just be relentless. I would say relentless in your determination that you're gonna stick with it.
Now that comes from my origin story, really. I mean, I had an uncle that told me to not even trade, that I couldn't make money doing this, and that set me on a path to do this.
My whole family told me I was too stupid to do it. I mean, if ninth grade math, I should be driving a bus around New York, not be down on learning on Wall Street. But hey, that's the passion, and I was just determined. It didn't matter to me. I'd wash dishes while I learned how to do it if I had to. Cut grass. I was just, you got to be determined, like you were, Jeffrey. You figured it out from the outside, and Roger too. The determination is off the charts with guys that are successful. They're relentless. They can take a loss and just keep going.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like trading reveals a lot about your character, but the really cool thing about trading, revealing a lot about your character, it also gives you the opportunity to sharpen your character when you approach those losses the right way and you learn from them. And that's what I think we're hearing from these guys here today. It's fantastic. Let's keep it going. So Jeffrey, let me ask you this question, and then I'll ask you guys this as well, or you guys can just kind of roundtable it how you'd like to do that. But so, all of you guys, you've been in the markets for a long time. You've seen a lot of ups, you've seen a lot of downs, you've seen headlines. Nothing at this point surprises you. Okay. I know that about you, but I know it surprises the audience, or at times they feel unprepared, that sort of thing. But my question to you is, how broad do you go in the different types of assets that you like to trade? Like, do you, when all of a sudden things are, pulling back, do you suddenly switch gears and look at something else? How broad do you go, or how much do you stay the same, doing the same things over and over? Explain that kind of process, any adjustments that you make in the ups and the downs. Jeffrey, why don't you go first?
Well, first off, you have to understand your own personal, psychology. I'm a tinkerer, I'm a maker. I get bored doing monotonous, same things all the time. That leads me to cover crypto and options and, equities and futures and forex. I mean, I'm all over the place looking at stuff because I can't stay in one little market. I get bored, I get complacent, I make stupid trading decisions trying to make things work because I get bored. It's just who I am. So if I'm always bouncing all over the place, but the thing that I do that's the same is look for the same exact pattern in all these charts. The pattern, the system, as these guys have said, have a system. My system is these Fibonacci patterns and stuff that I use, and I apply it to every single chart, and it shows up everywhere there's a price chart because it's based on our human psychology, on herd mentality. And you can find these over and over and over. And I just track those. That's my consistency across all the different things I look at. But I go to where the opportunity is, what's moving. And if natural gas is sucking behind whatever right now, move on to a different market. Go look at something else. That's why I like to keep all the different markets available to me. I don't like to limit myself in where I look. But I do look for those same patterns, that same set of setups all the time. And I wait for them. Don't try to front run them. That's where I lose money. I know this. I've learned it. I've learned that lesson and paid for the education over and over. Got to wait for the setup. And that's why today I'm so excited on all these pullbacks, because they're hitting the downside levels. It makes my pattern look so beautiful. And right now, the problem I'm having is picking which ones. Like, there's so many. So that's really where I'm at.
It's opportunity. Opportunity is setting up, right, Jeffrey? It's
Yeah.
really cool. So, Roger, what are your thoughts on, how broad, what do you do in the ups and the downs with the assets that you trade?
Again, it's just what goes back to exactly what Jeffrey says. Your personality, your trading style has to match your personality. I'm a very extreme person. I'm not an in-between kind of guy. I like everything one way or the other. I'm a very binary, very erratic, not in terms of my personal life, but in terms of how I look at things. And I'm actually very, very grounded and stable. But in terms of like markets, I like very extreme type of moves. So most of my strategies are based on extreme turning points, extreme volatility, areas where a lot of traders don't feel comfortable trading. I feel very comfortable trading. So that's the kind of things I look at. So again, it's kind of like dancing, Everybody has their own dancing style. Everybody has their own style of moving. Everybody has their own style of speaking. You will have to develop your own style of trading. Now, with that said, you could copy someone else's if their belief system is similar to yours. If you meet somebody and they're also they think the same way you do, then you could probably trade their system or methodology, or you could just back test it, trade it if it's a mechanical system, and just let it be. But the way I think, I'm a very emotional guy. So for me, emotional discretionary trading just doesn't work. Systematic trading really works great because I'm a great rule follower. I'll follow rules till I die. I mean, I'll just take it till the end. I'm one of those guys that if I'm flying a plane and the plane's telling me to go upside down, I'm going to go upside down without questioning it. So the point is, you got to play up to your strengths and not weaknesses. Some folks are not very good at mechanical stuff. They like to do things more discretionary. It takes a little time, but you got to find something that works for you. Doesn't work for others, works for you. And again, one of the most beautiful things about trading is you got 100 different assets classes. You've got all of the different, you got pullbacks, you got breakouts, you've got congestions, you've got the Elliott wave stuff. You've got so many different ways to express yourself. So to me, the market is almost like a way of expressing yourself. It's like playing a musical instrument. Some guys are going to play heavy metal. Some guys are going to play classical music. Some guys are going to play country. It's not about the right way or the wrong way. It's about your finding the right way for you. And
Amen.
I think there's two big challenges: finding something that actually makes money, which is a mathematical question, that's expectancy. And then the second thing is finding something that works for you. Like, for example, I know I have a friend, and he trades pullbacks. He cannot trade breakouts to save his life. He just cannot. It's against his constitution. It's like, oh, I'm overpaying. I can't. He will jeopardize himself no matter what. So I created a pullback system for him. I have another friend who thinks pullbacks are reversals. Anytime he sees a pullback, to him, that's the beginning of a reversal. He does not believe in pullbacks. He only trades breakouts. For him, the breakouts work well. So again, this is a very simple explanation, but you've got to find yourself. You got to find yourself, and you can't find yourself unless you make mistakes. See, when you're in high school, when you're in college, you make a lot of stupid mistakes, right? That's what kids do. That's what we all do. It's called growing up, right? Well, every time you make a mistake, you learn. Well, most of us learn from our mistakes, and we don't repeat the same things. And you make enough of those mistakes, you finally start getting your act together. Most of us do. Some never do, but most of us do. So the point is, trading is very much the same thing. It's kind of like a hit or miss thing. You get into it. Oh, I got bit. And you start learning all the things that really irritate you, that bother you, things that attract you, things that you're good at, things that you're bad at. It's just how the game works. There's no right formula for everybody. And that's why I always tell people, if you're listening to me or Jeffrey or Jack or anybody else, you got to find something that works well for you over time and something you genuinely believe in. And if you don't, you're going to be out on the search for the Holy Grail for the rest of your life. Let me make it really easy for you guys. I'm going to make it, let me take all of it out of your, because I know a lot of guys here or gals, they're into indicators. They're into technical indicators. They have this, they go into the stage and then they stop growing and developing as a trader when they get into the indicator stage. Something happens in the indicator stage where they just stop progressing. And they just keep looking for the right indicator, the right indicator, the right indicator. They don't even know what their trading style is, but they're looking for the right indicator. And what that really means is they don't have enough confidence in what they're doing. That's what that really is telling that person. But I'm going to make it really easy for you, okay? If you are right 50% of the time, and if you have a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio, 50% of the time, 2-to-1 risk to reward, you will still break even if you make money 33% of the time. So I just gave you a system, 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio, 50% right, and you'll still make money even if you're right 33% of the time. So stop worrying about being right and start worrying about what works for you, because expectancy is not that hard to figure out once you have some bruises. That's what it is. Some bruises. Once you have some bruises, the expectancy will come, but you still got to figure out what works for you, what doesn't. If you can't, you're just going to keep going in circles and circles and circles and circles.
Excellent. Great. Yeah. A lot of even just adding that diversification is kind of what I hear a little bit of you all saying, understanding the kind of trader that you are. And within that, you have this kind of diversification, but you really get to know the type of trader that you are through that experience. Jack, how would you answer that question? How broad in the asset class do you go in the ups and downs? How do you approach these ups and downs?
I trade very narrow. I stay in my lane. I have traded everything. I've done it all, Forex, crypto, the whole 9 yards, buying options, but I don't do that anymore. Because that's not what I like. We had a conversation about this, I think, with Tony Saliba. Roger might remember this. And we were talking about, I said, growing up poor, once I learned the sell side of options, I love that. Right. Whereas all my rich friends growing up, going through Dean Witter's school, the whole 9 yards, this rich guys, they had no problem buying and losing all their money on options. Let's just pick another one. That was their approach. And I lost. I got burned that one time. And I've been burned on options other times, but that the first time was my biggest one. But then when I saw the other side, that's my side. This is I like the taste of that better than I like the taste of buying an option. I love selling premium. I love that. So I stay in a really narrow lane. I don't trade crypto anymore or Forex or nothing. I just basically, my lane is so narrow. I just do it on just about 5 stocks only too. So however they go is how I go. And I always use a broad market, what I call a market driven approach. This is something everybody should do. If you just look at where the SPY is in a 6-month chart, you'll see if it's bullish or bearish. And if you just plan your trade in the same direction as the broad market, my research indicates you'll improve your odds about 85%. And it's simple. You don't look for shorts in a bull market, and You don't try to go long stuff in a bear market and plan your trade accordingly. And for me, I like just being like an expert on just a couple things. I know Jeffrey, he can look at that chart and apply that to any crypto, Forex, or whatever, but not me. I stay in my lane, and I know what I'm good at. I know how to do it. I'm comfortable doing it, and I like it. I really love it. I don't like buying options anymore. I love what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's excellent. Well, and you've been doing it for a long time, and it gives you that opportunity. You live quite the lifestyle, and that's really appealing for people to be able to see. For all of you guys, you all have so much freedom to do the things that you want to do, the things that are important, and this is an avenue that you use. So you don't get all upset about all the crazy things going on in the market or headlines or anything. You just keep,
Yeah. I read less and less now.
Yeah.
I heard a really funny saying. This woman comedian I was watching, she says, my mother's one of those types of people that watches the news all the time. It's on all the time, 24 hours. She got the news on. She said, you ever notice how people that watch a lot of news, they always think the world's in a far worse place than it actually is. I love that line. And, and even Tom and I were talking about how nothing's changed from 40 years ago,
No.
it's just like Jeffrey's saying, it's the fear and the greed, and nothing's really changed. Right.
Yeah, so true.
Not at all,
Yeah.
actually.
So true. So true. Well, Jeffrey Turnmeyer, you are the engineer of all types of trading, and everybody loves hearing what you are doing and what you're up to. And you've had some different programs. I've been reading a couple of testimonies about you, people just really liking your approach as well. So, what do you have up your sleeve? What kind of things you say, like, you tinker and all these things. And it's like, it enlightens us, So what have you been tinkering in? What do you have to share with us a little bit more on a deeper level?
Yeah, well, I can share some charts and some levels if we want to jump into that real quick,
Yep,
and then I'll
go
give an
right- go for it.
opportunity to go a little deeper too here. So let me grab the screen share. Looks like we haven't even shared a screen yet today.
That's true. And thanks everybody for sharing, because, like I said, these times is when you learn the best lessons. So hopefully we've had a lot of engagement with that.
Let's just start with crypto because heck, I drew a big arrow right there almost 2 months ago. And we went right down there. And now we are in a zone where we can reverse very strongly on crypto. I was looking for this pullback. It was, we made a higher high in Bitcoin here for the year, but on Ethereum, when we pull that one up, we had made a lower high, and I was a bit more bearish on Ethereum. And lo and behold, these are the same patterns, same charts that I talk about all the time. The underlying instrument behind it, it doesn't matter to me. It's the price patterns, like I said a few minutes ago. And, this one came right down to reversal point too. And this really pulls confluence between Bitcoin and Ethereum. They were on two different paths. Ethereum was on a more bearish path, Bitcoin on a more bullish path with that higher high. Now they've come into alignment with this pullback that we got yesterday. And the news, Wall Street Journal, middle of the day yesterday, threw out an article that said that SpaceX had sold their $300 and something million worth of Bitcoin. 3.5 hours later, the market freaks out, and the mainstream media is all over it because everybody loves fear. Like, fear sells. That's why it seems like people that watch the news, they're more bearish on life. Fear sells. That's it's just a fact of our human psychology. We're drawn like moths to the flame on bad news. We really are. People are like, oh, good news. Oh, no big deal. But bad news. Oh, you got to find out about it. Got to find out who's, we got to find out why SpaceX sold 300 million in Bitcoin. Oh, man. I mean, it really, like, it's the bad news that sells. I mean, think about it. What do you want to know more about? Do you want to know why your neighbor killed somebody, or do you want to know why your neighbor's kids got into college? I mean, it really comes down to we're captivated by that bad news. I mean, we really are. So there's the Bitcoin and Ethereum levels. That's crypto in a nutshell, because that's when we bring up like coin market cap. We're looking at 60%, almost 70% of the entire cryptoverse is just Bitcoin and Ethereum. Why pay attention to the other 30%? I don't. really. I mean, I do look for opportunities there because they present themselves, but when 70% of upwards of $1 trillion is tied up in two things, that's the main focus. You know, it's like Jack was saying about the S&P, you know, just trading with the SPY 85% of the time. You know, there's 70% of your market right here in crypto. As those two are going, almost everything else goes the same way. So if you just keep your eyes on those two, you kind of have a broad feeling for where the rest of crypto is going. Now, bouncing back over, you know, I'm bouncing around.
Hey,
S&P
Jeffrey,
500.
correct me if I'm wrong, but what's roughly speaking, what's the correlation between those two cryptos, between Bitcoin and Ethereum?
They generally fly in pattern, but like I said, there was a divergence that had set up the past couple months where Bitcoin was doing something more bullish and Ethereum was on a more bearish path, and now they've come back into alignment where they can both be on a bullish path.
From
So
I'm not an
resolve their
experienced
differences.
I'm not a experienced crypto trader, but every time I look at them, they seem like they're doing. It's kind of like the S&P and the Nasdaq. They look like they're very correlated to each other. That's why I asked.
Oh yeah, when we look at there's a little weekly chart thing here on the side, and you know, for the most part, let me shrink that back down. For the most part, they fly in parallel, as you can see right here. And there's a few cryptos as you roll down. Most of the charts look the exact same for the weekly. Yeah. You've got that same pattern. You got ones that do something a little different, but then same pattern. Of course, some of these are pegged to $1 and they're not going to move. They're just going to be sideways and volatile, like Binance USD right there, or some of the other stable coins up here, USDC. You know, they're not going to move. They're pegged to $1. But for the most part, like I said, most of the cryptoverse moves the same especially on a small 7-day time frame. And you know, the bigger monthly time frame, Ethereum had bottomed out in June. Bitcoin didn't find its bottom until November. So they were on two different time frames, different time scales. But this recent pullback yesterday and today has brought them back into somewhat of an alignment on where they can go next. And that's powerful to me, that we resolve conflicts in the market, because then it clears it up for everything to go. Especially when the two of them tend to take everything with them, whichever way they go. Looking at S&P 500, there is the potential and the possibility that we could see a move right down here to this level. And what's so special about that level? Well, that is where we topped out back here August a year ago. That is right in the vicinity, right in that same spot. It's where we consolidated a year ago. And deja vu, we retest that from the top this time instead of from the bottom. That if you're not prepared for that kind of retest of that zone, please reevaluate what you're doing. Just, you know, like I said, it's not being wrong that costs you money. It's staying wrong. So just be careful out there. I just want to throw that out there, a little tidbit.
Well said.
And you know, one of Roger's favorite charts. This isn't a live chart like he brings up on bar chart, but this one's just updated daily. This one right here, we had poked out above 80. We stayed out there for almost 2 weeks. Now we're headed right back down to the 20 line.
We absolutely are.
This chart right here, we don't typically hang out very long below 20 or above 80. We like to hang out in the middle. So we're after spending 2 weeks out of the top, we're heading right back down to the bottom. Are we going to break out the bottom? That'll indicate that the time's ticking for a strong reversal. But I'm thinking that we may find support in the 20 to 30 range this time and get a bounce. So yeah, I'm watching for it.
I think you and I are seeing very similar pattern developing.
Yeah, this is I learned this chart from you, Roger, as far as you know, to look at it. And I picked the 20 and 80 levels when I zoomed out for and looked at it over a months long period.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't hang out above 80 or below 20 for very long.
No, we don't.
It's, you know, bring up this chart, S5FI, draw a 20 line and an 80 line, and there you go. That's a roadmap for the market.
I was going to say that chart looks very familiar. I'm thinking now I know where you got it from. You may want to just, Jeffrey, just for yourself for future, when you're looking at it in this view, it looks really easier to read it when you're looking at it on a line versus a bar. Just not that it makes a big difference, but
I like candle charts. It's just my
No,
that's just
me as well. I just noticed that when people look at it, it just looks a little more difficult on a candlestick. But anyway, these are all nuances that are not that
Yeah.
important right now.
Yeah,
But
all the way back here in March when we were down here, I drew these arrows and I have
Mhm.
not changed them since. I thought we might hang out at the top, but instead we came right back down to the bottom.
Yeah.
Because we poked out the top. I thought we'd come up just shy and just hang out like we did right back here in 2020. If we go back right over here,
Now,
we
one
kinda
thing
popped up and hung out at the top for
one thing
months.
just one thing I want to add to this. One of if you see those areas where you're either above or below the line, I find that those periods, some of the stocks, that's like the stocks are trying to get the last hooray either up to the or the bottom, and the liquidity levels are really good around those levels. So if you're a day trader or if you're a very short-term swing trader, I would be very much focused on the level that's above and below the line. Just a little tidbit for you guys who are interested in very short-term moves. You got a lot of liquidity around those levels, very strong liquidity. Sorry, Jeffrey, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
Well, and I just want to point out too, Jeffrey, there are a lot of questions about Bitcoin for you. People want to know, about the ETFs. They want to know, where the floor is. So make sure you spend a lot of time going over that topic. It's a hot topic. I understand.
Yeah, I've got some opportunity to talk more about Bitcoin here in just a second after we finish this up right here. I feel like this is kind of important, and we may be in this area right here, dipping down. We may see this, and then we may park right at the top if we're going to go out to a new all-time high. Now, there's lots of conflicting, let's say, ideas in the market about what's going to happen next. Do we get this huge recession? Possibly. Do we just shake it off and go all-time highs? Does inflation rear back up and set new records again? I mean, there's lots of conflicting stories and ideas, and that's what makes a market. You're a buyer, I'm a seller. I'm a seller, you're a buyer. I mean, that's what makes a market. So, but some of these indicators that we have that we track, Roger and I tend to like this one. I mean, it just shows you when we get out the top, we're probably going to roll over. The time's a ticking before we get a correction. When we get out the bottom, the time's a ticking on the correction, and we're about to go higher. Yeah. So this is one to keep an eye on. Just bring it up once a week. Just check it where we're at. And right now we're getting near the bottom. So time's a ticking before we might see another rally. Just be careful.
I'm going to post a link to this chart on bar chart so you guys can have it for free. And you could just click on this link and you can always be looking at that chart. Funny enough, I have the same levels on mine that you have on yours.
No,
let me just
I made them up myself, but yeah.
Let me just, where am I?
That's great. Yeah. Some people were asking about how they could get that. So yeah, it's great that you'll put that on the bar chart. So look for that in your, in the chat right there, everyone.
Yeah. And this is just, all this is tradingview.com for me. And you can, pull it up, S5FI. It's just Sierra 5, the number 5, Foxtrot, India, I, and type that in and then you can draw on it. And when you click the little save button up here, it saves all your drawings, and no matter when you pull it up, it's all there as long as you have an account with TradingView.
And on bar chart, it's the same ticker symbol, just a $sign in front of it, and that's it. But
there you go.
Yeah, nice and simple, easy, and very effective. Very effective. And I also, do you mind if I share my screen just for a quick second?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, it'll just take me a second. I want to show you guys.
There is an Indy 5 FI too, NASDAQ 100. So
yeah. There's let me just show you guys this. It'll be very, very quick to show you guys how to find it. So here I drew these like a year ago, probably up here, forever ago. But you could see the same thing that Jeffrey's looking at. So you would go to stocks right here. You would go to market performance right here, the third tab, and just go all the way to the bottom, and you have your NASDAQ right here. You have your S&P 500 right here. And here's what I was saying, Jeffrey. All I do is, just to make it easier to read, is I take this and I take the view and I go to area charts, and then it becomes easy. Then it becomes easier to read. That's all. But exactly the same thing that you're doing over there, and I have the RSI there as well. So, but I'm so glad you're using that. I'm glad you're using it. It's a very useful tool. Very,
Hey,
very.
I can learn things from everybody. That's we were talking about the indicator chasing, or you were talking about the indicator chasing. I find that everybody kind of goes through this. I just need to learn one more thing. One more thing. It's going to make me the perfect trader. One more thing. I went through that. And really, you just need to focus on the one thing that works. When you focus on the one thing that works, then you get all sorts of clarity.
You know,
And,
it kind of reminds me of that movie. I don't know if you guys seen it. I saw it years ago. The Karate Kid, when he got beat up and he went to the karate teacher, he's like, just learn how to do this. Just learn how to do this. Don't try to be a karate. Just learn. And then, but honestly, it's just the little things that make all the difference. But I agree with what Jeffrey's saying. It's just that one indicator. If I only had that one indicator. But seriously, folks,
it's not just indicators. See, I mean, you gotta you're like, oh, momentum. I gotta learn all about momentum. And what does that mean? Like the volume. Like I gotta learn about volume. I gotta learn about, oh, Hakanashi. I've never heard of that. I gotta figure that out. That's gotta be the thing right there. That's what the pro traders are using. Like you can go down this rabbit hole forever, just getting one more thing, one more thing. That's why I have such a broad, vast knowledge of all these different things. I chased it for years. I'm like you guys. I understand. I know what you're doing.
I think we all did. I think everyone did to a certain degree.
All right. Well, I know there were lots of crypto questions. So I want to talk about this Bitcoin profit window opportunity that Roger and I have got coming up, and give you a chance to jump in before we talk about it more next week. I want to thank you for joining us this afternoon. Hopefully everybody's gotten a little bit of something out of it. I know I have, talking to these great, wonderful, knowledgeable people. Before we go, I want to give you a chance to dive deeper into what I think is the #1 investment opportunity anywhere right now. But before we get there, let me ask you a question. You ever heard of BlackRock? Let me know in the chat. Have you heard of BlackRock? Anybody not heard of BlackRock? Let me know in the chat. Lots of guesses. All right. Most of you probably are rolling your eyes. Of course, we've all heard of BlackRock, right? I mean, come on. They're the biggest asset manager in the world. Something like $12 trillion or some nonsense. And almost everybody knows just how big, how rich, and most importantly, how influential they are, especially with that news story. One of their traders said, oh, you can buy a senator for 10 grand. I mean, come on. That's influence. They manage well over 10 trillion in assets, making them one of the richest, most powerful institutions in the world. But right now, BlackRock, they're getting ready to pour huge sums of that money into one massive opportunity and going to make some serious waves in the process. Check it out. Bitcoin. They're going to be starting a spot ETF. BlackRock manages so many retirement accounts, and they're setting this up to put retirement systems into Bitcoin with their spot ETF. That Bitcoin ETF could be the biggest breakthrough for crypto investing since the Bitcoin white paper came out in like 2009. Just take a look at what happened to gold after the original spot ETF became available to trade right here. Look at the price. That's an amazing chart right there, right? Think about what that could do for Bitcoin. Similar pattern happened when silver also had their spot ETF approved back here. Look at that. Hadn't looked back hardly. These days, corn, one of the highest traded futures in the world, usually #1. But it didn't shoot higher, at least not consistently, until a spot ETF hit the market. I'm confident that Bitcoin will follow a similar path to gold and explode higher in the coming, say, 18 to 24 months. But before you start to fear, get that FOMO, that fear of missing out, let me be clear. I'm not talking about figuring out complex coins or crypto wallets. No. In fact, you never even have to touch any of that, because there is an obscure window at the end of each month where you can just chase this massive growth potential in Bitcoin by placing one trade in the regular brokerage account without even leaving the regular brokerage account. You don't have to go to a crypto market to do this. Whether you're a Bitcoin fanatic or a total crypto skeptic, listen up. I can give you exposure to these gains without leaving your regular brokerage account. And I've developed a strategy for trading this Bitcoin profit window each and every month, supercharging my investments in crypto during these short windows of time. Take a look back in March when the window opened up, Bitcoin moving up a pretty nice 4.9%. And if you had utilized my strategy in your regular brokerage account potentially 63% in that same 8-day window. Or back in April, the window showed up again. Bitcoin shooting up over 9% in just a matter of days. But had you utilized just your regular brokerage account, you could have cut that same move with over 160% gains in 8 days. I want to walk you through this entire Bitcoin profit window, how it works, but I'm running out of time here. So I've prepared an instant access report for you to get all the info you need. I'll teach you what the Bitcoin profit window is, when it occurs each month, how to target the trades to make the most of this monthly opportunity. And I'll teach you one ticker symbol you can trade the profit window with without ever leaving the stock market. Originally, I was going to charge $50 for this. I mean, it's pretty valuable information, and I'm confident that would have been a pretty good deal. But I want to get this report out to as many people as I can. And I don't want price to be a barrier, so I slashed it down. Instead of $49, we're going to have $5 instant access right here for Ask the Pros people today. So go to jeffreytrader.com/report, or if you just need to talk to somebody, call the team, 855-454-0816. Click the link in the chat. You can claim your copy today, right here. That's what I got, Celeste.
Yeah, great. That's great. That's a lot of good stuff. It was a really great session today.
Get it, folks.
Yeah.
Get it. Get this now. It's worth it. Worth every penny.
Like I said, Roger and I are going live next week to really hammer some more into this. This is like a preview of what we're going to get more into. So you want to get the jump on it. And,
exactly. Exactly.
Get
Get the jump on this, folks. It's going to be a great session. You guys do not want to miss out on this.
He's got it figured out. Really, he does. I've seen this thing before, and Jeffrey's very brilliant at the way he's constructed this. $5 is
it's
no-brainer.
Right. I mean, what needs to be said, folks? It's the best $5 you're going to spend this week. I mean, you can't even buy you can barely buy a gallon of gas for $5 these days. I mean, my God.
Not up here.
Insane. I was in Washington, D.C. 3 weeks ago, and I went to 7-Eleven to buy something. I don't remember what. And I was standing at the cash register, and I looked at what cigarettes cost. I haven't smoked in 30 years. And cigarettes were $12.49 a pack. When I used to smoke, they were $1.25 a pack. So, geez. Inflation, folks, inflation. This is a better way to spend your money than half a pack of cigarettes.
Well, it's like Jeffrey said, I mean, like BlackRock, I mean, cryptos are not going away. So being able to understand from somebody like Jeffrey what's going on with Bitcoin, everything, it's going to be fantastic. That's going to be an incredible report to get your hands on and read through several times before you attend next week with Jeffrey and Roger.
Yeah, I mean,
definitely.
I can't really talk about it more than what I've already said. This is Bitcoin profit window. I mean, does it apply to other cryptos? Well, I just discussed in leading up to it that 70% of the entire crypto market is between Ethereum and Bitcoin, and 50% is just Bitcoin. Why do you want to go everywhere else? I mean, there's 1.8 million cryptos in that other 30%. I mean, seriously, how much time do you have to look at charts to chase down 1.8 million different charts? Why not just stick to the two main ones, and particularly the one that's 50% of the freaking market? I mean, come on.
Yeah, give a recap real quick, Jeffrey, kind of the things that you cover again in this profit window.
Yeah, so this report, it covers what the heck this profit window is, why it occurs each month, when it occurs each month, how it occurs each month, and then I also cover how to target the gains utilizing that profit window. To cut some of the meat, there's a little specific window each month where Roger loves this, where you can just buy, hold for a few days and sell, and you got most of the gains of the month. If you do that every month, you actually outperform just buying and holding.
It's really worth its weight in gold, folks. This report is going to be eye-opening for you. Highly recommended. Jeffrey is onto something. The only thing I wish is that I came up with this whole thing, but I did. Jeffrey did.
He cracked the code on this thing, and it's no surprise. Being the tinkerer that he is, he figured this out.
Roger, you're being modest. I did have you help me do some of the back testing.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Oh, really good stuff.
It's really good stuff, folks, and you really should get it. It's going to be a great weekend read, and it'll get you all set up for next week's webinar when we're going live. I believe it's Thursday or Friday or something like that. But it's happening next week, and I'm very excited about it. I'm going to be reviewing my Bitcoin profit windows this weekend and seeing where the buy and sell signals are. And I'm really glad you're using that momentum level, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Really good stuff.
I
Well,
appreciate you showing it to us right here on Ask the Pros.
Yeah, a lot of things. School's never out for the pro, and that's what you're hearing from these guys here today. It's just a lot of ways to fine tune your trading. So anyway, it's been a great session, a lot of great comments, great feedback, excited to keep moving forward in the markets, excited about this program that Jeffrey has out there. Go get that $5 report. It is so worth everything that your time reading it, the dollars you spend on it. You will not regret it. So look forward to your session next week, Jeffrey and Roger, on that. So everybody have a great weekend. I'm going to head out. I've got a session at 1 o'clock. I hope you all join me with the bear snare. And but it's been great being with everyone, and have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next time.
What a great name, Bear Snare, right, folks? What a great don't miss out. Come in there and go check out Celeste. She's going to be live in about 5 minutes. You got to get ready, Celeste. So you got to get going. But and check out Jeffrey's ebook. This was one of the best sessions I remember in a very long time. Very organic, very natural. Just a great information, folks. If you really want to get your money's worth, watch the replay. There's a lot of good tidbits in here. And if you guys need more information about trading books, like mental for emotional, controlling your emotions, send me an email, support@marketgeeks.com. I'll send you a couple of really good ones, really good books. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you, Jeffrey. Bye. Have a great weekend. Bye, Jack.
Thanks,
have a great
everyone.
weekend. Celeste, good luck today.
Thank you.
Bye,
Celeste.
guys. Bye,
Yes.
gang.